Season 8, AI and Truth. Episode 3, Why Seeing is No Longer Believing. One. Introduction. The camera used to be a witness. A photograph used to feel like a witness. A video used to feel like proof. Not perfect proof, not unquestionable, but solid enough that society relied on it. Courts relied on it. Journalists relied on it. Historians relied on it. Ordinary people relied on it. When someone said, "I saw it," and they had a video, the argument usually ended. AI changes that. It does not just create fake media. It changes what media means. It turns images, audio, and video from records of reality into flexible outputs. In the AI era, seeing is no longer believing, not because reality disappears, but because visual evidence loses its automatic authority. This episode explains how that happens, why it changes how society makes decisions, and what replaces visual trust when the camera is no longer a reliable witness. 2. The old social contract of visual evidence. For a long time, society operated under a simple contract. The camera captures what happened. That contract was never absolute. Photos could be staged. Film could be edited. Images could be manipulated. But manipulation had friction. It required skill, time, special tools, and often, obvious traces. Friction kept visual evidence relatively trustworthy. Not because people were naive, but because deception was costly. AI reduces that cost. When deception becomes cheap, the contract collapses. And when the contract collapses, the meaning of evidence changes. 3. It is not just Deepfakes, it is a whole spectrum. When people talk about fake media, they often jump straight to deepfakes. A fake face. A fake voice. A fake video of a leader. The real transformation is broader. AI enables an entire spectrum of synthetic and altered media. 1. Full fabrication, an image or video that never happened. 2. Partial alteration, a real clip with key details changed. 3. Context manipulation, a real clip presented with false framing. 4. Enhancement that crosses into invention, sharpening, upscaling, adding missing parts. 5. Style transformations, turning real footage into a different visual aesthetic. 6. Composite scenes, mixing real and synthetic elements seamlessly. These forms blur together. And that blurring makes trust harder. Because the question is no longer, is this totally fake? The question becomes, how much of this is real? That is a harder question. 4. Why media looks real. The illusion of photographic detail. AI can generate high detail, lighting, shadows, skin texture, reflections, background clutter. These details trigger the brain's realism detectors. Humans use visual cues to judge authenticity. AI is trained on vast datasets of real images, so it learns those cues. This is why AI media can feel real instantly. Copies the language of reality. Not meaning. Not truth. But the surface patterns of realism. And because human attention is limited, people often judge quickly. If it looks real, it feels real. That shortcut used to work. Now it is unreliable. 5. The speed problem. Your brain decides before you think. One reason seeing is believing was so powerful is biological. Humans evolved to trust sensory evidence. Vision is immediate. It feels direct. A photo bypasses analysis and hits perception. Even when you intellectually know images can be fake, your emotional system may still react as if it is real. This is the danger. AI does not have to convince your logic. It only has to trigger your perception. If you feel the impression, the belief follows. Even if you later learn it was manipulated, the initial emotional imprint remains. So the collapse of visual trust is not only technical, it is psychological. AI exploits perception speed. Truth requires slower thinking. 6. Why this matters: visual evidence is a civilization tool. Visual evidence is not just for entertainment. It is a tool that holds society together. It helps expose corruption, document war crimes, confirm abuse, verify police behavior, prove fraud, support journalism, support courts, support accountability. When visual evidence loses credibility, accountability weakens. Because powerful actors can deny. They can claim clips are fake. They can claim images are AI. Even if evidence is real, doubt becomes plausible. This is not a minor cultural shift. It is a structural shift in power. Because accountability depends on proof. And proof depends on trust. 7. The liar's dividend revisited: denial becomes a default move. Once synthetic media is common, denial becomes easier. A politician can dismiss a recording. A corporation can deny a leaked call. A public figure can reject evidence. Even if investigators prove authenticity later, the immediate political effect is confusion. Confusion buys time. Time reduces outrage. Time allows narratives to shift. So deepfakes and synthetic media create a liar's dividend. The liar does not need to prove something is fake. They only need to make doubt plausible. That is enough to weaken accountability. 8. Manipulation does not need to be perfect. A common misunderstanding is thinking a deepfake must fool everyone. It does not. A deception campaign only needs to fool enough people. Or even fewer. Sometimes the goal is not belief. Sometimes the goal is division. If half believe and half deny, society argues. Trust erodes. Institutions weaken. That can be the objective. Also, many manipulations work because people encounter them in low attention states. Scrolling. Late night. Angry. Distracted. In those states, critical thinking is weaker. So a deepfake does not need perfection. It needs timing and distribution. 9. The platform layer: why visual trust collapses faster online. In physical life, credibility is supported by context. You know who filmed something. You can ask questions. You can see surroundings. Online, context collapses. Media is detached from origin. Reposted. Remixed. Clipped. Stripped of metadata. Shared without sources. AI increases the supply of media. Platforms increase the speed of sharing. So false or altered media moves faster than verification. That accelerates the collapse of visual trust. In a fast platform environment, perception beats investigation. 10. The metadata problem: most people never see the trail. In principle, digital media contains metadata. Timestamps. Device data. Geolocation. Encoding signatures. But most platforms strip metadata. Or viewers never see it. And even when metadata exists, it can be forged or lost. So the public does not have easy access to authenticity trails. This matters because in the old era, authenticity was implied. Now authenticity needs proof. But the proof tools are hidden. So people rely on vibes, on social trust, On group belief. That weakens truth. 11. The rise of authenticity theater. As trust collapses, institutions will respond with authenticity theater badges, labels, watermarks, verified tags. Some will help. Some will be superficial. The risk is that authenticity becomes a marketing claim rather than a real guarantee. Also, any system can be gamed. Badges can be stolen. Labels can be spoofed. Watermarks can be removed or copied. So authenticity tools must be robust, not decorative. Otherwise they become another layer of confusion. 12. The real vulnerability, trust becomes tribal. When people cannot verify media easily, they trust based on identity. Who posted it? Which group shared it? Does it match what my community believes? Truth becomes tribal alignment. This is dangerous because it creates two simultaneous realities. If a video shows police abuse, one group says it is proof. Another group says it is fake. If a clip shows a politician speaking, one group says it is real. Another group says it is AI. This erodes shared facts. And shared facts are required for democratic conflict resolution. Without them, politics becomes a fight of identities rather than policies. AI accelerates this because it increases doubt. 13. The cost to journalism, verification becomes expensive. Journalism will not disappear, but it becomes harder. Reporters must verify more. Newsrooms must invest in forensic tools. Verification takes time. Time means slower publication. But slower publication means losing the attention race. So journalism faces a conflict. Be fast and risk spreading fakes. Be careful and lose reach. AI makes this conflict sharper. It also gives bad actors an advantage. They can flood the zone with content cheaply. Journalists cannot debunk everything. So the system favors noise. Truth becomes harder to sustain economically. 14. The cost to courts, evidence standards must evolve. Courts will adapt, but the transition is painful. Video evidence will require stronger chain of custody. Digital signatures. Authenticated capture devices. Forensic analysis. Expert testimony. This increases costs. It also slows justice. Small cases may not get expensive verification. That creates inequality. Wealthy parties can afford authentication. Poor parties may not. So the collapse of seeing is believing can become a justice inequality problem. 15. The cost to science and crisis response. In public health crises or disasters, images and videos spread quickly. Evidence of outbreaks. Evidence of damage. Evidence of violence. If trust in visuals collapses, crisis response is harder. Authorities struggle to convince people. People distrust official media. They distrust citizen media too. This can slow coordinated action. In crisis, speed matters. But in a deepfake world, speed competes with verification. So the crisis environment becomes more chaotic. 16. What replaces seeing is believing. If visual evidence is no longer automatically trusted, society will need new anchors. 1. Provenance systems media captured with secure signatures that prove origin. 2. Chain of custody clear documentation of how media moved from capture to publication. 3. Multi-source confirmation independent recordings from different angles. 4. Forensic verification analysis of artifacts and inconsistencies. 5. Trusted institutions organization with reputations for verification. 6. Slow media norms a cultural shift toward waiting before concluding. These anchors already exist in some form, but they are not universal. Building them requires investment. It also requires resisting the platform incentive for speed. 17. The bigger truth. This is a power shift. It is easy to think this is a media literacy problem, but it is larger. When truth becomes harder to prove, powerful actors gain room. They can deny. They can confuse. They can delay. They can manipulate. Meanwhile, ordinary people must carry the burden of verification. That burden is heavy. So the collapse of visual trust is a shift in power, from the public toward institutions that can control narratives, or toward groups that can generate noise at scale. This is why seeing is no longer believing is not just a cultural phrase. It is a political condition. 18. Core takeaway. Seeing is no longer believing because AI makes realistic media cheap, fast, and scalable. It breaks the old social contract where the camera was treated as a witness. It empowers deception and denial. It weakens accountability, journalism, courts, and crisis response. And it pushes society toward tribal trust, where people believe what the group believes rather than what is verified. The challenge ahead is not eliminating synthetic media. It is building new systems of provenance, verification, and accountability that can survive in an environment where visual evidence is no longer automatically credible. If this episode helped you understand why seeing is no longer believing, like this video so more people can see it. Share it with someone who still thinks video proof ends an argument. And subscribe to Uncovering Facts for deep, hype-free documentaries on AI, truth, power, and the systems shaping modern life. Next episode, how AI floods the world with fake certainty.